Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?
These are tough penalties, but the rule says any part of your body is on pit road, that counts. And I mean, it's a tough rule. I know a bunch of fans, according to social media, thought it was a silly rule and a silly call, but the rule is the rule. And the problem I have with it is that if NASCAR doesn't make the rule, they don't. What is the defining a man on pit road? It has to be a body part. It has to be a hand. It has to be a foot. So, you know, yes, this seems like a silly call, but without a rule, you know, a guy will have one hand on the ground, 2 feet on the wall, and getting the tire area. They'll find a way to make it an advantage. So I'm okay with the call because the rule says you can't do it.
I totally disagree. I think there was no advantage by that guy having his hand on the wall. I think back to a basketball game. You can only have 5 guys on the floor, and if you have 6, it's a technical foul. Well, guys will jump up and they'll high-five each other on the bench, and they'll step on the floor. You've never seen that called before. There's no advantage by this guy having his hand on the concrete. And the same thing happened with Austin Dillon. There was no advantage where a guy puts his hand down.
There was no advantage on that day, but if you don't make this rule, they'll find a way to make it an advantage.
But NASCAR calls this.
Let's be clear. This was defined for this year because last year guys were falling over pit wall. Guys were just having to end up on pit wall catching tires. So they said, hold on. If you touch the pit box, you are in the pit stall. Do I think it affected those pit stops? No. Do I think the rule's black and white? Yes. I like black and white. There's already so much gray. I want less things that have to be judged in the heat of battle. What are the penalties everybody hates, right? Was that pass interference? Was it not? I don't know. It's a judgment call. It's very simple. You were out of bounds or inbounds. They were out of bounds. They touched the thing. Too many pit crew members. I'm fine with it. I like it, actually. Black and white makes for better sports.
What you got, DJ?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I have to say, it's the rule. And as you said, if you don't call this week, then it's going to become more and more until it's out of control once again. So this way, everybody understands. Every other team knew it, and they didn't do it. So, you know, it is the rule. And by the letter of the rule, the right call was made.
Could the letter be redefined? Hey, feet, could it be this, could it be that? Then whatever. In my mind, listen.
The fans sitting in the stands right now are wondering, why is Kyle Larson having to come in? I counted all the guys over the wall. There's only 5 guys that came over the wall. And then they have to go back and hear, oh, well, that guy's hand was over the wall.
Yeah, but
then all of a sudden,
that's
the rule?
If his hand being over the wall allows him to get to that tire quicker or do something that does make the pit stop faster. I know on this day it didn't. But trust me, it will evolve into that.
What if the gas man grabs the gas can, and as he's turning around to go gas the car, all of a sudden he slips and he's about to fall back, and the guy on the other side of the wall shoves him and pushes him to the car. He doesn't have any problem, and he helps gas. That man actually helped him, but that's not a penalty.
It's not against the rule.
Because the rules aren't you can't help the pit stop. The rules
Okay, well, how did the guy with his hand on the ground help the pit stop?
It's not the rule.
He didn't today. The question is, what would he have done? Listen, this is the problem. This is the problem with rules.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the problem with rules. When you make a rule, it means you're going to have to make another rule. Because the minute they say...
Or you're going to have to enforce the first one.
Correct. You have to have this many people on pit road. This is it. This is the only number of people you can have pit road. What does that mean? What is the definition of on pit road? Because what was happening last year, guys were leaning way over the wall. They were grabbing the tire, and they were like, well, I'm not on.
No different than servicing outside the box.
Steve,
you used to be able to take lug nuts off when the car was outside the box.
We saw it just a little while ago on this show. The 4 came in, and a guy was scrubbing off the front of the car with a pole. So he's servicing the car from on the other side of the wall. If that pole hits the ground, does that mean that he's on the other side of the wall?
No.
Or if his hand's on the ground?
Yeah, because the rule is very clear.
How is that?
Is a person.
There's no question about the rule.
But he's helping service that car by cleaning off the grill.
You have the wrong argument. You don't like the rule.
Well, I know I don't like the rule.
But the rule is black and white. Like the fan couldn't see that Kyle Busch was going 5 miles an hour too fast. The rule can't see that the lower control arms are more than a quarter-inch offset. The rule, the fan can't see if the car is more than 36.
This right here is not an advantage.
But
I disagree.
It could be, and
that's where you and I disagree. The crew chief says, if you give me that, next week, what I want you to do is put 2 hands over there because then my tire changer doesn't have to turn as far. So he can roll that left rear tire out with one hand, keep the gun in one hand. See, that's where my mind is already going, is I'm going to make it an advantage.
Again, that's why that's the problem with rules. People like him behind pit wall are going to take this
You're right.
rule and they're
You're
going to
right.
pick it apart and they're going to say, well, this remember the All-Star race where we led the break because we didn't pit? That was because I looked at the rule and I went, how can we con NASCAR out of something, right? That's what they do. That's what happens. So rules require more rules because to enforce a rule, he's going to make you say, well, I didn't have a man on the pit road. It was 1 foot and 2 hands. His whole body wasn't on pit road. That's the problem. One rule leads into 40, leads into 100, and that's why we have so many rules today.
He was not assisting or helping make that pit stop
Not an
any
argument.
better. NASCAR should be able to make that call.
I
NASCAR should
disagree.
be able to say.
You want to make more
NASCAR
judgment
should be able to
calls?
say, you know what? He had no influence whatsoever on what happened on
Rick,
that pit stop.
we finally got the race official winner on Sunday night. We're not going back to any more judgment calls. Gavel down. 40 cars took part. 38 could do it without a guy high-fiving the concrete. 2 couldn't. That's the penalty. Simple as that. I'm glad you don't like it.
I don't like judgment calls. I don't like them. I like it black and white because the integrity of the sport cannot be questioned. You can question the rule, but you can't question the enforcement of the rule. I'd rather have it that way.
I'm willing to say we're going to have this argument again.
I'm guessing we are. I think it's something that needs to be looked at.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll reunite and argue about something else, but next we're going to do something cool. We're going to do shout-outs. That's not us arguing.
Go shout out.
Hey NASCAR fans, thanks for checking out the NBC Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe below for the latest NASCAR news, race highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.